And we thought we'd kick this off with a chat about Charlotte Flair's NXT Championship run. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up was it actually came from Sean Ross Sapp, Quizzlemania heel Sean Ross Sapp, because he noted on Twitter during the during sort of like the post-show thing, that the culmination of Charlotte's NXT booking will make sense in 3 to 4 months' time. However, as Sean points out, right now it looks like she won the Rumble over Shayna, minimized her Mania match, Shayna's Mania match, halted Rhea Ripley's momentum, and exhausted a bunch of champion versus champion matches without being pinned. And at the end of this, we didn't even get her, like Rhea didn't even get to beat her and win back the title. Instead, it was Io that won the title, which I'm all for, because like the one thing I would say about the main event is that like Charlotte Flair is amazing. Rhea Ripley is amazing. They had the best match at WrestleMania weekend, hands down for me. But Io Shirai's on a complete other level of good.
Yeah, I think it's we're in a weird nether space. You're right. I do think this is the first few steps of a longer Charlotte-based story, and I think most people can sort of see where it's going. Like clue, it's got something to do with her dad. But yeah, no, I thought they were going to put the belt on Rhea, because obviously there were a lot of talk of Io being called up to the main roster. That seems to be obviously on the back burner for now. But yeah, no, like Io's incredible. Like everyone is pleased about Io Shirai being NXT Women's Champion. It does, yeah, it does kind of lower Rhea a little bit.
Yeah,
especially because I caught some of the pre-show, and I know that the pre-show is all spin. But like a lot of the chat around this triple threat in the pre-show, and indeed on some other radio shows, was like Rhea needs to win this to kind of reassert herself, because going into WrestleMania, everyone thought Rhea would retain. Not me, of course. I predicted.
not me.
Yeah. But like a lot of people thought Rhea would retain, because like we need to kind of solidify Rhea as this main event, like the next generation's kind of icon. And I thought that she was going to win it back to kind of like then have a rubber match with Charlotte, but no, like it seems that Rhea is now kind of, well, she does not deserve a title shot, like definitively now, which is really sad.
Well, yeah, like the finish of this match was that Rhea was in the figure eight, so one would assume that Charlotte was possibly going to tap her out there, and then Io Shirai moonsaulted her into the face and pinned her. So like Rhea was doubly beat in this main event.
Yes.
But so yeah, so it just kind of raises the question about like, what did Charlotte's reign actually accomplish? Because my figuring was like, when she won the NXT Women's Championship, I was so stoked. I thought it was a genius move, because it puts Charlotte into NXT, which is having its ratings war with AEW. That's point one. So that's a good thing. You've got a big name on the show that you're trying to compete against the other company. Very, very smart move. But B, it elevates the title. And by elevating the title, it elevates the brand. And by elevating the brand, you elevate everyone else. So it elevates Rhea. It elevates Io Shirai. It elevates Shotzi, Dakota, all of the women on the NXT roster. But actually, kind of when you look back on it, it's like, it was a whole bunch of nothing. And now she's not the champion anymore.
You say that. It did elevate Io. It elevated Io a lot. Like this match felt like the main event, and I felt like it should have been the main event. Like as the show was going on, I was like, are they really going to do the backlot brawl as the main? Because I'm actually way more stoked about the women's triple threat. And yeah, and then so Io winning that match is probably one of the best coronations she could have had. Maybe not the circumstances, maybe not in a triple threat, maybe a singles would have been more prestigious, but like seeing those streamers close out a show, I think Io's in an amazing position now. Like I think a lot of it is again WWE spin, but you look at the video package they had before that match, right? And they talked about Charlotte, all the headlines that Charlotte had brought in as NXT champion. Obviously, like she didn't make a huge dip to the ratings, although one can argue that with no fans wrestling, generally people aren't as interested. So who knows? But like apparently she made headlines, drew focus to the title, like all of that kind of, she was, they did a thing on ESPN about her. Like, so apparently that's WWE's kind of way of, oh, she definitely did draw loads more eyes to the championship, and now we have Io Shirai as this champion. It did not help by the fact that Charlotte was on every show.
No,
That really, like, I think there was a couple of things they could have done, even having Charlotte's run end here to make it feel like they didn't bungle it. One was have Charlotte just be on NXT. But just like, the hashtag Omni Flair is generally one of the kind of it's one of the worst things in recent wrestling, having Charlotte on every show.
She's the hardest working woman in sports, Adam.
Oh, I really didn't like it. I actually think it made the NXT Championship look a little bit worse, because she was just sort of like carrying it as a trinket around, and like she was showing up on shows where the NXT Championship was not the focus. Like when she's on NXT, like she's a huge deal carrying a title and talking about the title. When she's on Raw and SmackDown, she's a huge deal talking about their championships and doing champion best. I don't know. I'm rambling, but yeah, it does feel a little lightweight. It doesn't help that there weren't like proper takeovers, like, because she had one singles match with Mia, and then a really truncated match with Io, and then this triple threat. Yeah, like I thought she was going to at least hold it till SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she was going to hold on to it until next year. Like, I thought this was the whole idea of this was to try and elevate everything and give her a really long, lengthy reign and put someone over at the end of it. And like, I get I agree with you that I think that it's done a great deal for Io coming off the back of this, but I don't think I would say that Charlotte Flair put Io over in this feud, so to speak. And perhaps it's because it was in a triple threat match. Like, if this was a singles match, I think it would have been much better, like Io winning the title from a singles match. But then, yeah, I don't know. I think it also doesn't help that, as you say, she did 2 champion matches. She did one against Bayley and one against Asuka, and both of them had like DQ non-finishes written all over them, which doesn't help the title at all. And when she was on Raw cutting promos about NXT, there was no Io Shirai there. There was no Rhea Ripley on Raw. So it really establishes like, well, they're on NXT. They're the NXT thing. But Charlotte is this omnipresence that can be across all 3 brands because she's actually important. And that certainly doesn't help things. But it's one of these things, like if we are to believe the word of Triple H, that we will find out. It will make sense in 3 to 4 months' time. There's a Triple H's words.
Well, like, the thing is, I think NXT has sort of earned that. Like, I get that, the fact that Charlotte is very main roster, and this all feels quite main roster. The DQ feel, in order to prolong the feud and turn that into a triple threat. This doesn't feel quite so much NXT as it does Raw. So I think people are a little less certain about it. But I think if anyone has kind of earned the right to say we're taking our time with this, I do think it is an NXT. I do worry that when he says that, he's not talking about the plan for the title, he's talking about Charlotte's plan to, as quickly as possible, match her father's 16 world championship record.
Yeah, so I mean, do we think that she's going to stick around on NXT? Like, is she going to go back for the belt again? And like, when we get to TakeOver Brooklyn or whatever the NXT TakeOver is this year for over SummerSlam weekend, is Charlotte going to be going for the belt again, or is she just done with that brand now?
3 to 4 months, right? Well, and what kind of time frame is that? So what, in 2 months' time there'll be, so like 3 to 4 months is 2 takeovers time. So what, there's 2 more takeover matches. So don't know what that means really. Like, is Io going to drop it to Rhea, and then is Rhea finally going to successfully defend against Charlotte?
Well, you'd like to see Rhea get that win over Charlotte, right?
Yeah, but like, this is not like, this is the worst possible way to set Rhea Ripley up as a contender. Not only she took the pin, but she got beat twice. She was in the figure 8 and she got the moonsault. So
right to her face,
right on her head. Oh,
That's
no.
my note here is effing L. She proper clocked her right in the face.
Hey, right on noggin. Yeah, like I don't know what they're going to do if because obviously Charlotte is now fighting Nia Jax for her title tonight. What did I say? Nia
You said
Jax.
Nia Jax. So on that, we've actually someone has put in a super chat. Era Zero West or EO Nero West 7 said, just read that Asuka's defending her title against Charlotte. Why? If they screw Asuka over again, I think I'm done. She already took her streak and the SmackDown title. So WWE's Twitter, I think, and I think WWE.com announced that yes, tonight on Raw we're getting Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. However, some social media feeds say it's a title match, and some social media feeds say it's a non-title match. So
Yeah,
I guess we'll find out on Raw what the actual match is, but this does feel like a case of the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, or a decision has actually not been made as to what the match is yet.
because I saw the match announced this morning on WWE's Instagram feed, and there was no mention of it being a title match there.
Yes.
So then I logged on on work, and Louis was talking about how it's a title match, and I was just like, so I don't actually know.
Yeah,
I think
because I said that to him because he posted up on WrestleTalk.com that it was a title match, and I was like, well, hang on, I've just seen this that said it's a non-title match, and he sent me across the tweet from WWE that said it is a title match. So at the moment we just don't know.
So that means that, well, worst possible case scenario is Charlotte wins the title tonight. Becomes a 12-time world title, drops it at Backlash to Nia Jax, and then beats Bayley, drops it to Sasha, comes back, beats Io in a 1-on-2 handicap match.
Or she could win the women's tag titles and like on her own, because that would count as 2.
She could do it with Nicholas. Why not? So I don't know if they are literally just trying to rush all the gold onto her. Like, best case scenario is it's a non-title match. Nia Jax comes out, clocks Asuka while the ref's back is turned, and Charlotte gets her heat back, thereby leading Asuka to go on and eat Nia Jax lunch at Backlash. But I am like, tell you what though, I don't know if this is a good thing, but I don't know with Charlotte anymore. Charlotte has reached the perfect sweet spot that sort of Roman Reigns reached, and like Goldberg and Bray Wyatt, which is that the company's track record with handling is so dodgy that I don't know what's going to happen in any match, which is, I guess, exciting. Is that how wrestling should be? Should I not be able to predict whether or not Charlotte is going to completely destroy another person's momentum at any given notice?